So, have you ever found yourself really vehemently criticizing a trait in someone else, only to kind of stop and have that moment of, oh, wait, I actually do that too?
Right, that little jolt of recognition.
Exactly. It's a pretty common human experience.
Yeah.
But what if that flash, that little insight, is just, the tip of the iceberg?
Ah, yeah.
Because today, we're doing a deep dive into something maybe more subtle and pervasive, unconscious self-projection. We're pulling insights from this really fantastic source behind the mirror, reversing unconscious self-projection.
It's a great one.
Yeah. So our mission here is to really unpack this whole psychological phenomenon. Like, what is it? Why do we even do it? And maybe most importantly, how do we shift from these like invisible habits to actual conscious clarity? We'll be looking at, education, reflection, even some spiritual angles.
And it's important to say this goes way beyond just simple hypocrisy, which is maybe how it first appears.
Yeah.
What's really going on, and what the source highlights, is that this is often a deep reflection of our unconscious mind doing its thing, creating these hidden habits that, well, they really impact our lives.
And our relationships, presumably.
Oh, definitely. Crucially, our relationships.
Okay, so let's unpack that term. Psychological projection. Most people kind of get the basic idea, right? It's that defense mechanism where we take our own thoughts or feelings, maybe even behaviors we don't like in ourselves, and we sort of pin them on other people.
Exactly. But this deep dive really zeroes in on the unconscious bit.
Right. The part we don't see.
That's it. The part we don't even realize is happening. And that's where the real blind spots form.
The source had that example, didn't it? Someone who struggles with honesty.
Yes, exactly. Someone who maybe deep down struggles with being dishonest, finds themselves constantly, almost compulsively, accusing other people of lying. And that unconscious aspect, that's really where the power and the problem lies. When we just don't recognize these patterns in ourselves. It creates these huge blind spots.
And these aren't just small things, are they?
No, not at all. They actively limit our ability to connect authentically, not just with others, but maybe even more fundamentally with our own true selves.
So why does the mind do that? What's the purpose?
Well, the mind's trying to protect itself, really. It's shielding us from uncomfortable internal conflict, maybe guilt or shame. It's like a self-preservation tactic,
But a flawed one.
Definitely flawed, highly distorting, in fact.
And thinking about that, the fact that it's unconscious, it makes you wonder about the ripple effect, right? Like, what does behind the mirror say about the actual cost? It can't just be a personal thing.
Absolutely not. The cost is, it's significant. It fundamentally distorts how we see reality.
Okay.
It puts a huge strain on our relationships, even the closest ones. And ultimately, it just blocks our own personal emotional growth.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you're constantly projecting your own unacknowledged stuff, say insecurities, onto other people,
Yeah.
you're never actually seeing them clearly. And you're certainly not dealing with the root issue inside yourself.
Right. You're stuck. So if this unconscious projection is so powerful and kind of sneaky, how do we even start to notice it in our own lives? What are the clues?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Moving towards awareness.
Yeah.
The source points out some common signs, things to look out for, like maybe you find yourself repeatedly blaming others for mistakes that, if you were really honest, you had a hand into.
Okay, I can see that.
Or perhaps being overly critical of certain behaviors in other people, behaviors that maybe secretly you do yourself.
Oof. Yeah.
Another big one is struggling to see the contradictions in your own moral standards. It's like one rule for me, another stricter rule for everyone else.
That sounds familiar in the world today.
It does, doesn't it? And finally, maybe just constantly assuming others have the same negative motives or flaws that, you might actually possess without any real proof.
It's almost funny how obvious it can look from the outside sometimes.
But completely invisible from within?
Right. Which leads to the big question. Why? Why do our minds play this elaborate mental trick on us?
Yeah, the why is fascinating. It seems to boil down to a few connected reasons. First off, ego protection.
Protecting the self-image.
Exactly. It's more than just avoiding discomfort. The source suggests the ego can get pretty creative, actually constructing an external flaw so we can feel internally okay, pristine even.
So it keeps us from facing uncomfortable truths.
Deeply threatening truths, yeah. Then you've got cultural conditioning.
How does that fit in?
Well, think about societies or even families where showing emotional vulnerability is kind of frowned upon.
Okay.
That can unintentionally fuel projection. If it's not okay to admit you feel, say, insecure or angry, you might just sort of mentally assign that feeling to someone else.
Oh, interesting.
We also see something called moral dissonance.
What's that?
It's when our actions clash with our own values. Like, imagine someone who really values honesty, but maybe they cut corners at work.
Right, that internal conflict.
Exactly. That tension, that clash, it gets so uncomfortable that the mind might just resolve it by focusing on how dishonest other people are. It deflects the internal conflict outwards.
Wow, okay.
And finally, a really big factor is just a lack of emotional awareness. If we aren't really tuned in to our own emotions, if we don't recognize them clearly,
Yeah.
we often tend to project them onto others. It's easier than facing them directly within ourselves.
It's amazing how all these different things can kind of converge, isn't it?
It really is. They all work together to create these powerful blind spots.
Okay, so we've got the problem identified, we see the impact, we even have some ideas about the why. But now for the really crucial part, the practical bit, how do we actually break free? How do we move from this, unconscious habit to clearer vision? What does behind the mirror suggest?
Right. This is where it gets really actionable and hopeful. The source lays out 5 key corrective measures. Think of them as pathways back to clarity.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, practice mindful reflection. And this isn't just like random thinking. It means really pausing,
Yeah.
observing your emotional reactions to others, but without judging them immediately.
As noticing.
Just noticing and asking yourself that key question. Is the thing I'm accusing this person of, is that something I also struggle with, even a tiny bit? That honesty can be incredibly revealing.
Okay, mindful reflection. What's next?
Second, self-distancing techniques. These are really cool ways to get perspective.
Like what?
Well, you could try writing about a conflict you're in, but write about it as if it happened to someone else in the third person.
Oh, interesting.
Or imagine how a trusted, neutral friend might see your behavior in that situation. Stepping outside yourself like that can expose patterns you'd normally miss.
I like that. Getting an outside view. Number 3.
Third, embrace the golden rule. Seriously. It sounds simple, but it's profound here. It means really holding yourself to the exact same standards you expect from other people.
No double standards.
None. The source uses that great metaphor. If you eat dates, don't forbid others from doing so. Basically, practice what you preach. It's about deep moral consistency.
Makes sense.
Fourth is therapeutic support. This could be talk therapy, counseling, even consistent journaling can help massively.
Getting it out, processing it.
Exactly. It helps you identify these unconscious patterns. The source specifically mentions cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, as a really powerful tool for learning to reframe those distorted projective thoughts.
Okay, therapy or journaling. And the last one.
And finally, number 5 is spiritual anchoring. For some people, turning to sacred texts or engaging in meditation or contemplative practices can really foster humility. It helps you explore teachings about inner purity, detachment, maybe unity. These practices can shine a light on the soul's blind spots, connecting us to something bigger than the ego's defenses.
So these 5, reflection, self-distancing, golden rule, therapy, spiritual practice.
If you think about it, they're not just like isolated techniques. They're all pathways toward deeper self-awareness, towards more integrity.
They sound really practical. But, often when you try to change these deep habits, especially unconscious ones, there's pushback, right? Resistance. Does the source talk about that?
That's a really important point. And yes, it does. It acknowledges this isn't some quick fix. That resistance, it often comes right back to that ego protection we talked about.
Okay. The ego doesn't want to let go.
Exactly. So the key, according to the source, is persistence. And crucially, compassion for yourself during the process.
Not beating yourself up.
Definitely not. It emphasizes that sticking with these practices, even when it feels uncomfortable, gradually weakens projection's hold. You're building a new habit, a conscious one. One reflection, one self-distancing exercise at a time. It's usually a gradual unfolding, not a sudden lightning bolt, and that tends to stick better.
So what we're really saying then is that recognizing your own projection, it's not about feeling bad or self-condemnation. It's actually liberating.
That's the perfect word for it, self-liberation. It's a massive opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
Because as we start to see how our own unconscious mind can twist our perception of others, making them into mirrors of our own hidden stuff, we unlock this incredible power, the power to live with, well, more integrity, more compassion, and honestly, just a deeper sense of inner peace.
It sounds like a truly transformative journey.
It really is. And the benefits aren't just internal, they ripple out into every single relationship we have.
So let this deep dive today maybe be that first step for you, the listener. A step towards reclaiming clarity. Not just in how you see other people, but maybe more importantly, how you see yourself and how you relate to others. We really hope you'll consider which of those corrective measures, maybe resonated most with you. Perhaps that's the place to start your own journey toward conscious clarity.